All right, guys, thank you so much for being on. We are 1 week into August, which is crazy to me. I can't even think of September. But I wanted to talk about a couple odds and ends things and then talk a little bit about growing your team, because everybody has team growth goals here. And, I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of you on it personally over the last week about what your struggles are and kind of where your mindset is around inviting to coaching. So I wanted to dabble in that. But a little bit of housekeeping stuff. The flash sale I had planned for Thursday, I just truly cannot put one together because we are out of everything. Like, it would be so hard to post packages and then say, but you can't have that flavor and you can't have that flavor and you can't have that. So I don't think it's a really good time with things being back ordered. Like, even the mixed berry tubs are out and people have to get packets. They don't want the less packets. Like, it's just a lot of stuff. So some of the Shakeology's on back order. So I think maybe we'll try one in September, like a back to school or something, if everything is getting back in stock. The other thing is, did everyone listen to the National Wake Up Call this morning? Oh my God, you have to listen to it. Christina Delgado is just like, I love her to bits. But I'm going to start to implement one of her ideas, which is off to the races. So next month, for anybody, since we're past the 5th this month, anyone that hits Success Club by the 5th of the month, will get to be put in an off to the races pod with me. We'll just have a little pod going, kind of like a mastermind, like we've been doing. I mean, I feel like I've been in pods with a lot of you recently, either mentorships or pushes or team cup or whatever. And so it's always a great place for that extra value, extra connection. So that'll be something in September when all of this craziness, I feel like between the mentorships and the team cups, and we've got a lot of stuff going on, I'm going to start to implement that in September. So that will be kind of our off to the races. If you're hitting Success Club by the 5th of the month, then we'll have a little mastermind pod going. So anyone who will hit it will be in there, okay? Because I definitely always try. My goal is SE 10 by the 10th, but so that definitely means, getting Success Club by the 5th. Or at least, I guess I should say, let's start with points on the board by the 5th. Let's start that next month, and then we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm a big proponent of front loading your month, and kind of like we talked about, SC 5 each week as the goal instead of SC 5 for the month. So we're going to start doing that. Okay, so if you guys are just hopping on, I will be recording and posting, but no flash sale this week, only because everything is out of stock. But we will be doing the 3 group next week, the 5 rounds fit club. I won't be able to change the group. I'm going to use the same free group we've been doing, but I won't be able to change the photo until Monday because Facebook has a stupid rule that you can't change the name of a group. I mean, I can change I should say this. I can change the cover photo. I won't be able to change the name of the group until Monday. So don't message me saying it still says sugar detox. I know Monday it will change because it has this once a month rule, which is kind of crazy. So then we'll start off to the races next month. Success Club points on the board by the 5th. We'll get you in a little mastermind pod with me and together, and anyone else who's hit it. And listen to that wake up call if you haven't yet, because it's really so good. So good. Okay, so I want to talk about adding coaches to your team, because this is something that we all struggle with, right? We want it to be easy, right? We have team growth goals, and there's so many different ways to go about it. But I wanted to just kind of talk about general thought processes around it, and we can open this up for discussion at the end, because I know, like, Margaret and I talked a lot today, or the other day, Trish and I talked, like, we all kind of get in our own way, myself included, when it comes to that. So it's always great to bring it on the table. But basically, first of all, I always try and reframe it, you guys, that recruiting is the same thing as selling a challenge pack, right? We're selling the coaching opportunity. So when we say sell with challenge packs, we don't ever really use those words because we're sharing, right? We share so easily what the programs have done for us, what the products have done for us, because you can see those things on the outside, right? Or we can see that even if we haven't had our transformation yet, we can see them in other people, we can share that stuff. But somehow when it comes to coaching, we get all like tongue-tied and we don't know what to say, and we need to have the perfect words or message or whatever. So I want you to kind of reframe your thoughts to think of it like, it's like sharing about a challenge pack, except you're sharing about the coaching opportunity. And I used to get really hung up when I first started on the fact that I felt like I needed to have success before I could share. But really, when you think about it, that's not true. There's a reason that you started your day one in this coaching. And that's because of the opportunity that's in front of you, right? When we talk about our why and our vision, we have this goal of what this business will allow us to do that our full-time job wouldn't, right? And why? Because we've seen others go before us and do that. So you don't necessarily have to have that level of success to just say, part of the reason that you are coaching and you are excited about coaching is the opportunity that's in front of you to maybe create your own work hours, right? Or be there more for your family or whatever it is. The other thing is there's nothing too small to celebrate. I mean, also other things include, as we know, like the accountability, the community, right? So there's all sorts of the same things that go along with challenge groups, how we can, yes, talk about the weight loss, but we can also talk about the community. We can talk about the support and accountability. We can talk about that we know it will fit our lifestyle. So like all of those things, just think about how you share about challenge groups and our products and our programs. Think about just translating into those same little buckets and how do you share them about coaching, right? The physical transformation, the accountability that coaching gives you, the financial opportunity that it gives you, maybe the time freedom that it gives you, similar to the time freedom that our programs give you, because you can press play whenever you want. You don't have to work around a gym schedule, a class schedule. So I tend to like to kind of write those things out, like make 3 columns about either your transformation so far or what the business opportunity allows you in terms of your physical, your financial, and then your emotional, community-based, right? So you could just make a list of bullet points of things that you can start sharing and crafting. And then the other thing to think about, and we'll get into this a little bit more, is the fact that, we always tell people to start coaching now, even if they're not you don't have to be at your goal weight or your perfect body or your after, because people don't relate to that, right? They relate to the journey. Same thing with coaching, you guys. Nobody is going to relate to Lindsay Matway, who is making hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, right? They're not relating to that. They're going to relate to you because what they're going to see is what you're doing and what they want. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, the reason I have everyone read The Compound Effect first is because that book is pure gold in making you realize it's just the small things that you do every day. Like we tell our challengers that too, right? It's the small decisions you make every day that compound. It's the same thing with coaching, right? The number one way to build your compoundable income is through growing a team. And we're not here to say, I always tell everyone when you come to sign on to this team, no one's making it your goal to grow a team. There's lots of people that are discount coaches, hobby coaches. But if it is your goal to earn compoundable income in this business, growing a team is the way to do that. And if you're not familiar with why, because we have team cycle bonuses, right? Because we have, when you start getting team cycle bonuses, you're also going to be getting percentages of the bonuses, the team cycle bonuses that your coaches underneath you as you start to layer your team. So if you're not familiar with that part of the compensation plan, you don't have to study it. It's worth taking a look though, so you understand where your money's coming from. We have bonuses, fast start bonuses for signing up 5 coaches in 5 weeks. You're going to get fast start bonuses, signing coaches up with Shakeology challenge packs. So again, I never want you to focus on that, right? We don't see people as a bonus or a success club point or whatever. We see humans that we're helping. But when we are in fact here to make a paycheck, all of us, and most of us who show up on these calls and we're talking about it are here to grow a team. And in a business like this, you can only sustain so much on retail, right? Without constantly having to just sell 1 million challenge packs. The actual larger amounts of income come in those bonuses as you start to get them. And as you start to expand your team, when I shared that graphic with you guys last week about the difference there was almost like, of course there was growth from year 1 and year 2, because year 1 was like my first month as a coach. But the difference between last year and this year was that I had passed the 2-star diamond mark, which meant I could open a second business center. And that opened me under me, right? And you can see just doing that, how drastically your income compounds. And that's why I say get to 2-star, because that's where you can do that. And then once you get your second business center to 2-star, you can open a third and a fourth. And that's how you just continue to compound. So in a business that really financially rewards us for volume and rank advancing, we spend way more of our time spending hours like learning how to get likes and comments, right? Or how to make a graphic. Or how to, right? It seems so crazy that when we're here and we say our team, and this was eye-opening for me when I first started really realizing that what I was saying and what I was doing were 2 different things. I was saying I wanted to grow a team. I was saying that I was wanted to help other women do what I'm doing. But what I was doing was inviting only to challenge groups. What I was posting about was only about challenge groups. What I was talking to people about was only about challenge groups. what you speak about and talk about comes about. So if that's all you, and granted, many of you, of my coaches on this team, have come from challenge groups, which is awesome, but you still have to talk about that stuff for your challengers to see the opportunity in what you do. So that's why talking about it is so important on your page twice a week, at least, not as hard call to action, but breadcrumbing in your stories every day. And the more you get comfortable with sharing about it, the easier it's going to be. And the more people are going to see that. And like I said, I'm not talking about hard calls to action, like join my team, join my team, join my team, but little things like I tend to share, I'm taking a walk in the middle of the day, you guys, and this was like a huge goal for me because I don't have to be at work. Or, you know, I used to not be able to go to Trader Joe's and buy anything that I wanted, or Whole Foods. I couldn't buy organic strawberries. I was penny pinching, you know, or I couldn't buy that $12 jar of almond butter. Like, you know, so it's like, it can be those little things, like about I have breakfast with my kids, or working at night in your pajamas. It can be all the little things, but something every day talking about coaching. Because this quote came from Josh Coates, which I love. We spend so much time majoring in the minor things and minoring in the major things. So think about that. Are you majoring in the minor things? Are you constantly watching little videos on how to, like, I don't know, do it? Like, I don't do anything fancy in my stories. I'm not the people that are doing these TikToks or like whatever. And that's fine for people that are, and maybe they like that and they're efficient at it. I stink, and to drain my time with that would not be beneficial for me. So let's like always look at your time every week and say, how did I spend it? How did I, what was my goal this week? And then where did I put the majority of my time? Was the majority of my time working towards that goal? Because I know for years I was talking about growing a team and I wasn't inviting a darn person. And it was my corporate mentor that was like, wow, how many, you want to grow this team? This is your goal. How many people are you inviting? I was like, 0, literally 0. I was not inviting anybody to coaching. I was talking about coaching. It's constantly defaulting to the challenge group. So you might have heard this 80-20 rule, that 80% of our results come from 20% of our time, right? So when you find the 20% of the something that gives you the most results, that's what you have to find. You don't have to, and then you just 4 times the amount of time you spend on that, right? I was reading, I think in my PD book today, and it was talking about how your job, because I'm reading leadership, your job is not to take your weaknesses and make them strengths. Your job is to recognize what your strengths are and make them, and use them to your advantage and make them better. So don't spend all of your time trying to perfect these weaknesses that you have. I don't try to perfect my ability to use Canva. I have a VA, because again, I would be here till Christmas doing recognition every week. So I don't spend my time trying to perfect like just anything I know I suck at, I outsource it. And I use the things that I know I need my specific brain and communication for, and that's where I go with it. So when you find that 20% of the something that's going to get you the most results, which is talking to human beings, adding to your network, investing time in getting to know people so they know you care, so you know what their struggles are, so you know what our programs or opportunity can do for them. You guys, those are the things nobody wants to take the time to do, but they're the most essential part. And it compounds because yes, sometimes we think, oh, I got to converse for like 2 weeks with this person. But guess what? You're way going to increase the chance of a yes, I want to join you when you've built a relationship versus a message that just says, hey, I think you'd be a great coach. Have you ever thought about it? But without, like, the same message could be really successful a week or 2 down the road. And it's hard to have that patience. But I will tell you, the number one way to have that patience is to have abundance of conversations. When we put all that pressure in that one basket, or that need to see someone that's going to be good and invite them right away, usually it's because we're not talking to enough people. You should have enough conversations going that every day you have 3 or so people that you can invite to coaching, because from the past 2 weeks, because every day you're talking to 15 people or something, you know, just initiate conversations. Hey, how are you? How is your summer going? What have you guys been up to during quarantine? Like, I'm not talking about initiating invites. I'm just talking about initiating conversations every day. Be that professional friend maker on social media. So make sure that when you have your goal, and because you guys are all so awesome about stating what your goal is, you're very clear on your goals, and that's great. So the next thing is to reassess your time and see, where you're putting your time gonna get you where you want, what that goal is. And if it's not, you don't change the goal, right? You just start doing different actions. Okay, so how do you up your number of recruits? Simple. You just up your action in inviting people to coaching, right? If you want 4 times the amount of recruits, if you're getting like 1 a month and you want 4, well, look at how many you're inviting today and times it times 4. it's a simple formula, you guys. And I'm not saying it's always going to work exact, but there really is no secret. It's just upping the action. So spend more time talking about the business opportunities. Spend more time sharing what it's done for you to people, what it can do. And yes, sometimes it takes some time to sit and reflect on what it's done for you. Really sit and journal. Maybe every day when you're doing gratitude, write down a separate 3 things that coaching has brought to your life today. Because I know my days looked a lot different 4 years ago than they do now, in every stretch of the imagination. I don't even know who that person was 4 years ago. So maybe just does like, and it doesn't have to be these huge things like even your paycheck or whatever, just 3 little things that were different about your day because you have this opportunity, this team, this coaching, than if you didn't. So really think about everything that you've learned about selling challenge packs and apply them to recruiting. So find out what people are struggling with. I always talk about this, right? When people are saying, how do I help people? Ask questions. And the number one thing is finding out what their struggles are. So when we're talking to people about challenge packs, my questions are always, what do you struggle with most when it comes to working out and eating right? Then they'll tell you, then you can tell your conversation around what they're struggling with. If they struggle with time, then you're going to focus on the fact that there's quick 20 or 30-minute workouts, right? But if they say working out is easy peasy, I really struggle with the nutrition, you're not going to be like, oh my God, but you get these really fast home workouts. That's not their struggle. You're going to really focus on the simplicity of the eating plan. So it's the same thing with coaching. If you're talking to somebody, really listen to the hints they're giving you or things you see on their page. Maybe they're struggling with going to a full-time job. There's a lot of people like in healthcare out there right now that are posting with their masks and they're this and how hard it is to be in healthcare or, you know, that sort of thing. So really listen and then start to ask people like moms of kids, like, you know, think about how if they're busy or if they'd like more time with them. I mean, a number of things. So there's this little formula that, again, this is kind of a concept that came from Josh, elaborated on a concept that came from one of our top coaches, which is consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. So consistency, this is kind of where we talk about how many coach invites are you doing per day. So in general with sales, there's like a 10% closing rate, right? Like 1 in 10. So if you're inviting 2 people per day, that's 10 per week. That would be 1 coach per week, 4 coach per month. I'm going to tell you from experience, I think that those are reasonable for challenge pack people, but for coaches, it tends to be a little bit less. But you might find differently. You just have to kind of know your numbers. So that being said, if you're recruiting 4 people per month and your goal is to recruit 8 people, then instead of 2 invites per day, you up it to 4, right? So, you know, at the end of the month, don't necessarily say, what am I doing wrong? You might be doing all the things right. You might just need to be doing more of those things and more consistently, not 1 or 2 coach invites on a Monday. And then on Friday, oops, I didn't invite anyone to coaching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So let me invite 2 more, right? Same thing is with our programs. You're not going to get the results by doing the Monday workout of the 21-day fix, skipping Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doing Friday, and then taking your weight and measurements on Saturday and expecting the same result as somebody who did them every day and followed their meal plan every day. So, you know, really ask yourself, am I consistently asking people to join my team, or am I just consistently asking them to buy a challenge pack? And the other thing I've suggested to a lot of people is oftentimes when we're talking to people about a challenge pack, we see in them something, it's like, because there's someone we want to work with, right? There's someone that kind of jives with us that we think we could help. So what if you just took that 5-second pause before you sent the invite to the challenge group and said, could I invite this person to coaching instead? Because you can always fall back on inviting them to a challenge group. You can always fall back on that. If they say no, oh, okay, but what, maybe the products of the program would be good. But if you just had that pause, it's not almost extra work. It's like the same people that you're just seeing through the eyes of, this is, I'm just going to get my things that are easy out of the way and invite to the challenge group. You just pause for a minute and say, can I invite these people to the coaching opportunity? I still have to do that. I can't even tell you how much times I've written a message and I'm like, no, erase and make it a coaching invite. So don't hesitate to do that too. That's something that really helps me get those invites in. Okay, intensity. What kind of energy are you bringing to your coaching invites? So if you aren't as excited and enthusiastic during your invites to coaching as you are to your challenge groups, you got to get excited, right? And frequently that excitement that we are lacking is because of doubt. because I think we see the success of the women in our groups, or the women who are anyone that's using the programs. We see that visible success on the outside, that we can help them lose weight. We can help them get in shape. So we have a confidence in the way that we share about that. But we don't always have that same belief with ourselves as coaches to be able to build a team or leaders. And that, this is what, I mean, if you guys have been on the team for a long time, this was always my biggest thing. I'm like, well, I'm not a leader. I haven't done this yet. I haven't helped people grow their businesses yet. Well, of course you haven't. You haven't until you do it, but you got to do it. So with coaching, it's not about being sure already, but you have to enter with the belief that you can. And that was something I had to work on a lot, was like, I would have to do positive affirmations for myself that I am a strong leader. I am capable of leading a team. So you have to believe in that opportunity you have to change someone's life via coaching, in the same way you believe in the opportunity you have to change their life through health and fitness. And I'm not saying that that should just happen, because it doesn't, you guys. And that's the other thing. People think that the mindset piece should just be there. The mind takes more work than anything else. Anything else. So you have to start speaking to yourself as if it's already happened. Just like I have my challengers do, speak to yourself as if you've completed this week or stuck to your nutrition plan. How do you feel when you've done it? Say it as if it's already done. Same thing with your ability to share this opportunity. You have to believe in the opportunity. And again, like I said, even if you haven't had the success yet, because no one's out there following you or I because they want to make six figures. Was that you guys when you started? But yet somehow once we get coaches, we think we have to have this like six-figure income, right? Or for me, it was like, well, I haven't left my job yet, but it was an opportunity to, right? So people that have followed my story know I would talk about that. It was like, okay, I'm cutting back my hours. I'm hoping someday to leave my job, right? Now I'm here. If I just post the after, does anybody relate? Do those working moms relate? No, because they think I just got there. Same thing with your journey with fitness, right? People don't just, you don't want to just like disappear off the face of the earth and do our programs for 9 months and then show an after picture, because nobody knows the struggles that it took to get you there. They don't see the 5-minute mom pockets, the early mornings, the late nights, the effort that you're putting into your business. So again, like people aren't following me because they want a gazillion-dollar mansion and like a private jet or whatever. It's the mom who wants to maybe leave her job in healthcare, like, or the mom who wants to maybe not rush out the door of their kids, because that's my story. Like, what's your story? Like, the people that you need to help are the people that are following you for you and for your story. So we got to get out of our heads and think we need to have this massive success before we can share that, because nobody's on the other side looking at that. That's not why they're following you. They're following you because they see you doing something that they can see themselves doing too. They just need the belief instilled in them that they can. So then if you're making, so I always like to say kind of, if you're making $100 a week, go out there and speak to the people that want an extra 100 a week. If you're making 50 a week, go out there and speak to the person that wants an extra 50 a week to like fill their gas tank or get a manicure and pedicure. If you're making 1,000 a week, go find that person that wants to make 1,000 a week, because that would let them leave their job or whatever. So think about that, like share from what you're doing, because those are the people that are going to relate, and then also share the opportunity for growth if that is a goal of yours and that's part of your vision. And then worth, you guys. This is number one. You have to believe that you are worth it and that you are worthy of success in this business. And that goes with anything in life. If you don't believe you're worthy of it, the universe will not bring it to you, because you're speaking, no matter what words you say, you're speaking and putting out that energy that you are not worthy, and no one would want to join your team and nobody would want to do this or that. So that is something that needs to be worked on from the inside. Because if I asked everyone on this team, like, do you believe that we're all created equal, like on this world, men, women, race, gender, sex, sexual preference, like, do you guys believe everyone's created equal? Yeah. So how dare you exclude yourself from that? So everybody but me, everyone's created equal but me, because I can't be a successful coach in Beachbody. That makes no sense. Everybody is created equal. And so when you hear the stories of people who are uber successful, they all had a day one. They all, like Ashley Molstad will talk about sitting the farthest back in the nosebleed in Summit, like looking at a top 10 or top coach speaking and being like, well, someday, and look at her, top coach. How many years? Top 10. How many years? Everybody started in that backseat in the nosebleeds as just a coach, not even an Emerald. No one walks into this business a diamond. No one walks into this business an Emerald. No one walks into this business knowing exactly what to do or how they're going to get there. You don't have to know that. You just have to trust yourself that you're worthy of it and promise yourself. Like when I started, I promised myself, I'm going to be here in a year. It was a promise I made. And so I just, regardless, I was going to show up and I was going to do the things because I was like, well, I'm going to be here in a year, but I don't want to be in the same spot I am. I don't want to be the same coach that I am in a year, but I'm not stopping. And then a year was like, well, I'm going to be here next year. So what am I going to do between now and then? So I'm not sitting in the same place. And we can kind of talk about that a lot with our challenge. Like when we put out the invites for the challenge groups, it's like time's going to pass anyway. So why don't you just get started and do something with it? It's the same thing with this business. You're not going to, don't sit and wait for the success to come. You have to go out there and get that success. Okay. Be okay with being awesome. That's a hard thing for a lot of people. Be okay being confident, you guys. Be okay being that amazing person that you see yourself as if you just take the steps to get there. Because you will, if you keep that vision in mind and you keep knowing that you are absolutely worthy of it. So really and then the last thing in that little equation was time. Do the right things with the right energy, with belief over enough time, and you will succeed. Okay, so that's all I wanted to share about that. Comments, questions, struggles, anything. Doesn't even have to be related to recruiting. Just open the floor.
I've been working on it.
Okay, now I'm on unmute. So like, I've been having a really hard time, I guess, inviting, like getting that coaching, the thing you said. And Courtney, I saw your video today about the troll. And, and then she talks about like her friend calls like that subconscious voice in their head that tells you not to do something, the troll. So I went all day around, like literally like the troll is creeping in. And it was just nice to like catch myself in those kind of positions because, for example, I work at a bank and I absolutely hate it. Like it's just, I am not passionate about the bank world at all. I absolutely love skincare and cosmetics. That's what I'm extremely, extremely passionate about. And unfortunately, when, you know, COVID hit, I got furloughed from my job. So it sucked. And I was in the process of buying a house. And so I needed a job. I couldn't go on unemployment. So I took that bank job because it was stable and I got it. And today I got offered a position with Strivectin, which is a skincare brand, working at different Ultas, basically going in, doing training, stuff like that. The only thing is that it's less in hours. So I think I'm like nervous because I'm taking the pay cut, but everything in my head is telling me to do it. And so, yeah, I guess I put that out there.
And honestly, what if you, because this is kind of a part of my story too, what if you share that what's allowing you to transition from this job you don't like to a job that you know you're more passionate about is the fact that you have this coaching income on the side that you can build to even it out.
And that's what I've been thinking too, because I feel like I just don't have a lot of time because I feel like from 7:45 to 4:15, I'm trying to meet everybody else's needs who are giving me like phone calls, checking emails. So I don't have time a lot to post until like later in the evening. But if I had this time in the morning to actually work on myself and my personal development and the fitness goals and also be passionate about working someplace else, I know overall I'd be a happier person. Yeah. And I'd be able to project that on my feed when I talk to other people. So I have to give an answer tomorrow. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The one thing I will share with you though, is that, you know, I've heard that silly quote that like happiness is an inside job, right? So sometimes regardless of our circumstances, because I don't ever want anyone to think that time is a block to succeeding in this business. You know what I mean? Like when I first started, 7:30 to 4 were my hours. I had 3 kids to get up, out, and to daycare with breakfast in hand. I would come home and do the absolute reverse on the opposite end of unpack bags, pack lunch, you know, snack food for the next day, my own lunch, dinner, bath, bed. My husband worked nights, which meant he was not around in the nights and also slept in the mornings. So basically from like 6 a.m. to about 8:30 p.m., really no time for this.
Mhm.
It was little increments in the day, or really strategically using my time on the weekend to plan my posts ahead, or doing maybe extra invites then, or being really strategic about that 10 minutes I had in the morning. Like I'm getting out 5 invites and 5 friend requests or whatever. So although
Yeah, a little bit.
it sucks, I mean, I'm not saying that's a way to live forever. 5-minute increments is a totally possible way to do this job. I didn't cut back my hours till like year 3, and I didn't leave my job till year 4. And
Mhm.
so, you know, I feel like I always just want to share that, not to say you got to stay in a job you don't like or work these
Yeah.
extended hours, but just to remind everybody that time is never a limiting factor. Never.
Mhm.
You choose to. I eliminated watching shows at night. I mean, I haven't watched TV in like 15 years, aside from the kid shows. Like it just, you know, you pick and you choose. Like I eliminated that slow, easy into my morning, check email with a morning coffee to just get up and work out and then do my power hour stuff in, you know, my power 10 minutes, because that's what I had. So I always just want to share that with people, that that was a goal of mine the whole time, was not to have to work that rush, right? Like that was my goal, is not to have to rush, always be out the door, rushing to a job, home from a job, doing this, doing that. But I love the fact that you can maybe now share that you're going to find happiness between Beachbody and this, because you're passionate about both and they fuel your fire, versus sitting at a bank all day and doing something you don't love. So I think it's a great way to share. And guess what you're going to be able to do is maybe attract coaches who are also doing a job they don't love. And even before Ulta came along, like Beachbody just always made my life better. I like would wake up with something to look forward to. And that to me, I'll still never stop practicing gratitude for that. If I didn't have this in my world, like I would not bounce out of bed in the morning excited for life. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you, I'm excited to do my work at 4:30 in the morning and then work out at 5:30. Like I'm excited. I go to bed excited about that. Like how many people in the world can say that, right? So I think that's great angles when people are talking about how do I share about coaching, and you're looking for all these other ways, share exactly what you're experiencing in this exact moment in your life.
So I have a question, because I feel like I'm definitely like a part-time coach.
Mhm.
Like I'm doing here and there. And that's the kind of people I want to attract on my team, are people who want to be part-time coaches, because I'm still going to have my other job.
Mhm.
But for people who maybe want that extra income and work from home, that's kind of like the angle I'm taking, because I feel like that is me.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who likes doing a little bit of everything out there. And so I think I'm trying to work on that and inviting, but in the past month, I've grown my network. I started at 400 followers, and I'm only 9 away from 500. So I'm like slowly building it.
Yeah, and I said I had no goal of leaving my job when this was like not on my vision board at all. It was to pay for my shakes, right? Like
Yeah.
we had 3 little kids in daycare, full-time daycare. It was like a college tuition, diapers, wipes, formula. Like I had no, this was not, I was like, no, I went to school and got my master's. I'm going to be a PT for the rest of my life. And then you never know when life circumstances will change, right? When
Yeah.
my sister got sick, I was like, man, I'd really like to just be sitting at her bedside on my laptop and not going to work and asking for time off and feeling bad that like the rest of the staff is covering my caseload, right? And then it was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could make my own hours? And then it's like when the kids got super busy and in schools and sports, and it was like, wouldn't it be nice if I could do my Beachbody work during the day and then actually not have to stress when I'm at Little League or whatever? That stuff evolved. You don't have to know, you just have to share authentically about what coaching is doing for you now and what you see for it as the vision in your life. And that vision does not have to be leaving your full-time job. It wasn't mine forever. So you don't have to share. I think a lot of times people struggle about what to share because they're not just looking at what's going on in their own life right now. So that's why I say really take some time to journal, like what coaching is doing for you, and be really aware of that. Because it's kind of like non-scale victories. Like if I don't talk to the challengers about, well, because if they don't see movement on the scale, right? I'm like, well, how are you sleeping? How's your stomach feeling? How are your pants fitting? Like all of these, like how's your skin? And then they're like, oh yeah, actually it is better. Actually it is better. So if you don't actually take the time to like look at the little things that might be changing, they're easily overlooked. So definitely take time to like journal about coaching and what it's done for you and how it's added to your life. Margaret, I know you were going to say something before too.
I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, I've been taking that pause after our conversation. I've been taking the pause and I've been starting with a coach invite.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shift.
Making the shift. Anyone else?
So yeah, I'll just, so I had the day from hell today. I just have to say it because I'm like, I almost didn't even make it to the call tonight because, so today was my first day back to work from vacation. So everybody knows what that's like when you've been away from the office for a week and you come back to emails and mail and this, that, and the other thing. So when I was working my business, which I always do bright and early before I go to work, I had reached out to someone who purchased the MBF Deluxe Challenge Pack 3 weeks ago. So her shipment had been delayed because of COVID. Everybody's experiencing these delays. So I've been following up with her. So this morning I reached out, hey, you know, did your goods arrive? Went on about my way, got my workout done, got ready for work. I literally pulling out of my driveway. I go to put my car in drive. I look down at my phone, a message pops up. Oh, I canceled. That was the response to my message of, you know, to get your stuff. So, and then it was a back and forth with her, back and forth. And then I was supposed to have a conversation with another potential coach tonight at 6, called her, got her voicemail, even though she agreed to that time. No's left and right today. And I know it's just today. And I know tomorrow's a new day. And I know this business, there's ebbs and flows, and that's just the nature of it. But that's just how my day,
Yeah.
my coaching world went today.
And that happens to all of us. And here's the thing I like to tell people, if you didn't have any of those, it would mean you're not talking to anybody, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you have those means that you're talking to people, which means you're sharing about coaching what we have, which is a win. You can't get no's if you don't ask, right? So if your
Right.
day is not getting any no's, but not getting any messages, anything, like that's a day, that's a loss. You getting no's, not right now, or people not answering, you don't know what happens. Like sometimes those are the people that tomorrow are like, I am so sorry, like my kids needed this, or I got called here or something like. And even if it's not the case, you're also going to have those days where like, I've been getting them from Courtney. Oh my God, I opened up like 5 messages and people are coming to me, right? Like we've had that too. So but somehow we don't remember those, or those will come as well, where there's days you're like, I almost didn't even work for this. And people are coming to me and saying, what are you doing? Or can I join this? So that is the entrepreneur roller coaster for sure. There are always those days that just suck beyond suck, capital S. And then there's always those days that are like amazing. And so all I always say is like, I want to go to bed on a positive, right? So I still always journal 3 daily gratitudes, 3 things that I'm grateful for, whether it's business or not, because SHIT happens during the day and that's all. But it's that analogy I use all the time of the orange, right? Like what happens when you squeeze an orange? What do you get? It's not apple juice. It's not grape juice. It's orange juice. So you get what's inside. So we can only work on our inside. And the fact that we bless and release, the fact that these people are no's are not answering, and we don't judge on it. We don't make it personal, right? We don't make it anything. I've had some people, you know, there are a lot of frustrations with COVID and that, and I understand that for sure. And I think you're doing the right thing by like checking in, and maybe down the road, it'll eventually arrive and she'll fall in love with the product so much and she'll use them. I mean, it is just that fortunate, you know, you don't know. So I'm definitely sorry for your day for sure, but just, I know I'm proud of you because it means that you set up a call about coaching, right? You had you're talking to people about things, and it's, so that's all stuff to celebrate. Sometimes, like I said, we celebrate the process, not always the outcomes we get along the way or the result. You celebrate the fact that you're doing, right? Like I always feel like if I go to bed at the end of the day knowing I did the things, I had conversations, right? You squeezed in your coaching time around a crazy busy first day back. Like those are wins. Those are things to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, Melanie, I can't remember. Margaret, did you give us the go for no, like go for the no's checklist? Was that in our Team Cup?
I had given one for MBF when it first started.
Was that from you, maybe, Christine? I couldn't remember where it came from, but it just changed my mindset. Like to just be like, you know what? The more no's I get, the potential more yeses I'm going to get if I just go for it. And when I check them off, I'm like, oh, okay, that means maybe potentially there's someone saying yes, you know, at the end of those 10 no's, you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I talked about last week, about releasing the emotional attachment to the answer, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with them. And I still, yeah, it's that same thing. And if you've read Built to Last by Keith Callahan, who's in Beachbody, it's amazing. He's talking about team building and about you really only need to find 5 diamonds to really build your organization. And he's like, they're out there. You just need to find them. So if you are like in a room and there's 1 million red Solo cups, and you know underneath those 1,000 Solo cups, there's 5 diamonds. Like, would you stop? Like someone told, there's guaranteed 5 diamonds underneath those cups. Like, would you stop flipping because you got 10 no's? No, because maybe you're 1 through 20, you're going to get nothing. Maybe 20 through 30, you'll get 3, right? It's, we say it's about 1 in 10, but we're human beings. So like there's never exact amounts. So maybe the first 20, 25, 30 people you invite to coaching are all no's, but maybe the next 10, you get 4 yeses, right? So you just have to keep flipping the cups. And that really changed my mindset. When I read that piece in that book, it was like, I'm just going to keep flipping the cups till I find my people.
Are people finding that the MBF stuff is taking a lot longer? Or like I've had people who they said their stuff was shipped and then it said it wasn't shipped, hasn't, like it was awaiting shipment, and then they said it got lost along the way.
That I haven't had lost, but just know that it really affected everything because of everyone was buying it in form of packs. Right. So then it made like vegan vanilla was supposed to launch in the UK. Now it's not like launching. So it's the fact that it wasn't just like MBF and the jump ropes. It's the fact that then all of our products, Energize, they tack on everything right in the packages. Oh, get Bevy, get this, get that. So all of a sudden, like MBF sold, I don't know, 5-10 times their projection. And then also took a lot of the product in inventory because people were getting it in pack form. So it to me is not so much COVID as it is the massive, like Carl even came on and blanketly said, like, we did not project this, right? And there's no way they can. And so I think that if you think about just the number of coaches in the network, there's over 20,000 or so, even more coaches. So if everyone who's just even discount, not selling to people, is buying their own pack, then you have someone like Bonnie Engel or like Ashley Molstad who hit Success Club 250. So as one coach is selling 100 some packs, right? Like that's why it has thrown everything. And that's why I was like, I can't even put together a flash sale because there's no package that has everything available.
Right.
So what I would suggest for people is like, if you see that if their flavor is on back order of like a next auto ship, maybe talking to them about a different, like go through your subscription orders, see who's coming up, like what do they drink, maybe trying a different flavor so they're not just letting it wait, because we don't want, to go inactive as coaches either. And I would reach out to people who are doing subscriptions, and if their flavor is delayed, maybe changing to a new flavor, giving it a try, or trying a new product. Something like that. Maybe you could even do something in your group for anyone that tries a new product this month. I'm going to raffle off like a weekender. Like weekenders for us are like $19 or something with a coach discount. So you can maybe, put that out there to people if you try a new product. So just kind of have to think creatively. But I really attribute yes to COVID, but more so the complete shocking success of MBF.
Yeah, because they said her stuff was shipping, and then they took the reason why they said they weren't shipping it was because the vegan chocolate was on back order. So they weren't sending they were holding everything, waiting.
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah, I think the only thing they were sending separately for a while was the bod ropes, but then so they would send the package, but not the ropes. But then when the nutritionals started to go out of stock, I mean, I've never in my years had like chocolate Shakeology in back order ever. So it's truly just a massive amount of people and all of the new people that have been brought on with it too, because then they are people that started a month ago have auto ships coming up next. You know what I mean? So, and then there was the customer launch. So I think we have to just attribute it to the massive success of this, which means our company is putting out amazing programs. And it is just a challenging time for sure. The other thing to recommend for people, like if you guys are on a Team Cup team and I loved what Christina Delgado said, if you have those $20 off coupons, obviously we can't use them for MBF, but like the Bar Blend Challenge Pack, like, yes, I know it's available to everybody, but there's like, I don't always say people need the accessories, but you need those affirmation cards in your life. I don't care who you are, like doing bar blend and not like having the physical cards. Like I still use them and pull them on days and look at them. Like there's plenty of people that are well beyond doing that program. That is something that if they want to use their $20 off, maybe they do a bar blend challenge pack, and then they can get the beautiful like affirmation cards that go with it. Or if someone wants to do like 80-day obsession and they need the sliders and the bands and that sort of stuff. So think about packs that require equipment that maybe people already have access to whatever programs they want to do, but maybe just they want the added equipment, because those sliders are great things to have. Like there's a great PiYo workout with the sliders in it. 10 rounds uses the bands. So for people that are going to start accessing, maybe didn't do early access for 10 rounds, but are going to want it, you know, they're going to need the bands for that. So you can still do a 10 rounds challenge pack, right? Even though it's coming early access next time, because they're going to want the bands if they're going to do that program. So that's why I wanted to do the free group next week is the 5 rounds fit club. So it's kind of around that. So it's just gonna be themed around like that type of stuff. So just think about that too when you're thinking about offering up your coupons or a 3-day refresh challenge pack. If anyone's wanting to try the ultimate reset. So, you know, there are things that we can do.
I found it great for it was an 80-day completion pack
Mhm.
because she wanted to buy Shakeology anyway, and then it was $130 with the coupon for her to get an 80-day completion pack, and she got the sliders and the loops, and it was like exactly what she would have spent for the Shakeology.
Just the Shakeology, yeah.
And she's one of my already customers,
Mm-hmm.
not interested in signing as a coach, but just wanted the one.
Yeah.
So it was good.
That was good. Anything else? Okay. Well, I hope you guys found this call a little bit helpful. I think for everyone, I just want you to know it's always tougher to invite to coaching. I want to just give you guys a few tips and tricks and things that might help in terms of mindset around it and brainstorming ways to speak and really just being authentic to who you are, and that will help draw your people to your team. All righty.
Thank you.
All right, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Love you guys. Have
Bye-bye.
a good night.
Good night.